Let's face it, people are pretty much professional illusionists. They dress up their lives with filters, witty captions, and suspiciously perfect coffee shots, all in the name of looking like they've got it together. Social media. It's like a highlight reel of what people wish their lives looked like. Even in real life, folks tend to keep their flaws zipped up tighter than a winter coat and showcase their strengths like it's a talent show. And when it comes to relationships, things get even murkier. How can anyone really know what their partner is hiding, or what kind of person they were before the couple selfies and matching bias? Unless someone's super into oversharing, most people don't spill their deepest, darkest secrets on the first date. That's a stressful thought for the average person, but luckily, our female lead is far from average. While others might stay up at night overthinking a weird text message, she doesn't have to worry about hidden agendas or mysterious exes, because no matter how well someone thinks they've tucked their secrets away, she sees right through them. Think of it like having emotional X-ray vision, which, admittedly, sounds both handy and terrifying. In a classroom, two students are deep in the latest hot topic, Giju Seanbae. Apparently, she's bagged yet another award, and honestly, no one's even shocked anymore. One of the girls, clearly a fan of stating the obvious, casually says, "Of course she won." She literally sweeps every contest she joins. But her friend, the one with the suspiciously shiny blonde hair that probably defies school regulations, leans in with a juicy twist. This time, there's a pattern. Unlike her usual random contest spree, Giju's been targeting competitions with big prize money like a heat-seeking missile. The first girl gasps, because what's gossip without a little dramatics, and confidently declares, oh, it's all for her boyfriend. She's been handing him every cent she wins. And with the subtlety of a foghorn, they both burst into laughter, throwing around terms like doormat and pushover like they are auditioning for the Mean Girls reboot. What they don't realize, however, is that Giju Seanbae herself is standing just outside the door, frozen mid-step the second her name came up. Yep, she's hearing everything. So while her classmates continue their shameless comedy special at her expense, Giju's face stays unreadable. But her ears? Oh, they are taking notes. Turns out the first girl in class isn't just another gossip machine, she actually went to high school with Giju Seanbae and remembers the legendary scandal that got the whole school buzzing. Apparently, Giju wrote her boyfriend's entire college application, and when she got caught. Chaos, it's not but pure, academic chaos. So yeah, when you ask why she's out here risking her GPA for her boyfriend, just know, it's not her first rodeo. Fast forward to college, and Giju's dating none other than BMPO, a guy who practically screams walking red flag from a mile away. And true to form, she handles all his assignments, projects, and probably his laundry too, only to get dumped like expired yogurt. The girls gossiping about her. Oh, they are having a field day. They joke, they laugh, they roll their eyes, but deep down, even they can't help but feel a little sorry for her. She just doesn't get it, one mutters. She keeps getting played. Meanwhile, right outside the classroom, Giju Seanbae is calmly scrolling through her phone, pretending she didn't just hear every last syllable of their commentary. She's about to make a transfer, it's a pretty hefty one, we are taking about $350 straight to the boyfriend's account, because apparently love speaks in dollars. But just as her finger hovers over the confirm button, a friend calls her name from behind, breaking the moment and, maybe, giving her a chance to pause and think, or not, we'll see. The new girl, who's been sitting nearby absorbing all the drama like it's her favorite show, casually drops the bombshell. Those two girls, who'd been running their mouths, were actually hoping Giju Seanbae would share some insider tips about the contest. Ah, irony. Meanwhile, Giju, having heard every backhanded laugh and petty comment, is ready to leave the scene with her dignity intact and her mouth zipped. But her friend, clearly not ready to let the moment go, grabs her arm and gently insists she shouldn't let their nonsense stop her from flexing her brilliance. And just like that, with a stare that could chill hot tea, Giju turns back and joins the table. The four of them sit down, And though she's wearing the expression of someone forced to be at a group project meeting at 8 a.m., she calmly asks, "So, what do you want to know?" One of the girls wastes zero time and dives straight into the good stuff where Giju spends her prize money the way she does. Giju, ever composed, explains she plans to use it to support a few people in her department and do something nice for the department as a whole. But the girl raises an eyebrow high enough to disappear into her bangs and pokes a little harder, bringing up Giju's boyfriend with a smirk. "You really are the definition of a passionate lover," she says, half teasing, half throwing shade. Then she gestures at the sleek couple's ring on Giju's finger like she's spotted a plot twist in a drama. "That relationship's lasted a while, huh?" she adds with the kind of grin that says, "I came for answers, and maybe a little drama too." One of the girls nearly chokes on her curiosity the moment she realizes that ring is from Jimin Oppa. Her eyes widen like she's discovered buried treasure, and she leans in, grabbing Giju's hand for a closer look like it's Exhibit A in the museum of how did this happen. Naturally, all the girls are suddenly jewelry experts, trying to figure out what brand it is, probably hoping it's some overpriced designer piece they can envy properly. But Giju, calm as ever, casually says it's nothing fancy, just something she and Jimin picked up from a street vendor. That simple reply short-circuits their brains a little. Because for the life of them, they cannot imagine Giju Seonbae, stoic, straight-laced, walking perfection Giju, being romantic, let alone shopping for couple rings like a high schooler in love. The questions start flying like confetti. What's he like? Is he sweet? How's he treating her? And through it all, Giju answers every single one with a cool, collected grace that only frustrates them more. But the girl's still holding her hand. Oh, she's got a different agenda, with the kind of tone that says, "I'm not saying you're making a mistake," but she starts planting those little doubt-flavored seeds, poking at Giju's confidence in her relationship. And that's when Giju snaps, not loudly, but loud enough. Her palm hits the table with a sharp thud, making everyone jump a little. Then she says, "Jimin reads like a whole lot." The room falls silent, brows knit in confusion. That wasn't quite the answer they were expecting when they asked if her boyfriend was kind. One girl, never missing a chance to lace her words in sarcasm, chuckles and says, "Right, because your track record with relationships has been so inspiring." Giju doesn't flinch. She just lets the awkward silence sit there, heavier than anyone's pride. The talk about the female lead having high standards clearly hits a nerve, and while the sarcastic girl insists she totally respects Giju Sunbae's preferences, her smug grin says otherwise. Our girl, cheeks flushed and ready to unleash her bottled-up frustration, rises from her seat like a volcano about to blow when suddenly, the door bursts open. A classmate charges in with wild eyes and bigger news. Someone's treating the entire group to lunch. Like magic, the room empties. Even the ones who were mid-eye roll are now Olympic sprinters heading toward food. Giju is left behind, stewing in silence, her glare sharper than a knife set. But no one cares, lunch is sacred. On the way out, the female lead spots a guy in the hallway she's never seen before and nudges her friend, who stares at him like she's just seen a unicorn in a school uniform. Turns out, the generous senior isn't just any upperclassman, it's Hal Sunbae, back on campus and back to stealing the spotlight. Students swarm the hallway like bees to honey, throwing compliments and questions at him faster than he can blink, while he smiles like someone who knew this grand comeback moment was just a matter of time. The name Hal Yun finally clicks in Giju Sunbae's memory after a moment of squinting into space. He's that student, the one professors bring up every chance they get like he's some academic urban legend. He's got the full package, killer looks, manners that could win awards, brains, and legs that could outrun half the track team. And let's not even get started on the wallet, because treating the entire department to lunch isn't exactly what you'd call budget-friendly. Giju's friend is practically hypnotized across the hallway, eyes glued to Hal like he's the season finale of her favorite drama, and casually nudges the female lead to consider switching lanes, to someone like Hal, naturally. But our girl stands her ground, proudly declaring that she's perfectly happy with Jimin Oppa, thank you very much. Her friend isn't buying it though, side-eyeing the modest ring on Giju's finger like it's a prize from a vending machine. The comment stings more than she expects, and suddenly our girl's wondering if everyone sees her ring the same way, as cheap, small, and not good enough. But she likes it. Jimin likes it. Isn't that supposed to be enough? The thought clings to her mind like gum on a shoe, distracting her so much that she storms out of the building in a daze, only to walk straight into a young man standing just outside. The collision is a bit more than a gentle bump, sending a surprised gasp out of her before she realizes who she's slammed into. Jimin Oppa. He steadies her quickly, concern written all over his face as he checks if she's okay. She's shocked to see him here of all places, and he explains that he came because he noticed a money transfer from her again, yep, that $350 she'd put on hold earlier. Apparently, she went through with it anyway. He holds her gently, reading the frustration on her face like an open book, and softly asks what's wrong. When he mentions he came to return the money in person, it catches her off guard and triggers a flashback to that sarcastic girl's comment earlier. She hesitates, then asks him about it, wanting to know what he really thinks. Without a beat missed, Jimin reassures her with a sincerity that could melt glacier, he's not here for the money, or the gifts, or any of that. He's here for her. It's a rare, heartwarming pause in the chaos of her day, and it means more to her than she expected. Since childhood, Giju's hated owing anyone, she picked up the habit of returning favors tenfold, whether it was a pencil, or a piece of gum. She's what people would call a dangerously generous giver. Unfortunately, that trait becomes a double-edged sword in relationships, and Jimin's words hit deep, cutting through the worry she hadn't even realized was weighing on her. At first, the guys Giju dated were always flustered, blinking like deer in headlight, or over-the-top grateful for her wildly generous nature. But give it a few weeks and suddenly, the thank yous stopped rolling in, replaced with expectations, as if her kindness came with a subscription plan. Still, as Jimin Oppa gently holds her hand and locks eyes with her, there's something different about the way he speaks so genuinely, like he means every syllable. He tells her he's not being good to her because of her money, and to prove it, he pulls out a humble tub of kimchi like it's a priceless treasure. Turns out, he swung by her family's restaurant earlier and picked it up from her mom. Giju's eyes widen, she didn't expect that. Jimin casually mentions he'd gone over just to help out, like that's something people do for fun. Honestly, his sweet boy energy could probably thaw a frozen heart at this point, including mine. Giju, still touched but trying to be practical, tells him not to stress himself helping her parents when he's already busy with auditions. At the mention of it, Jimin pauses, his grip loosening just a bit before he quietly admits the last audition didn't go well. He looks down, guilt tugging at his features, and apologizes for letting her down, but the sincerity in his voice makes it clear he means every word, and her heart aches just a little more. Giju reaches up and squishes his cheeks playfully, grinning as she tells him not to let the audition rejection get to him. As far as she's concerned, the real losers are the casting folks, who couldn't recognize a walking Oscar when they saw one. Her confidence in him lights up his face, and soon they're both laughing, the earlier tension dissolving into something warmer. But beneath their laughter lies a truth they both carry quietly. Imin's parents aren't exactly cheering from the sidelines when it comes to his acting dreams. That's part of why Giju's been signing up for every contest, while his brother 4 hasn't prepared anything to eat. Giju just waves it off with a shrug, no big deal. He quickly offers to run out and grab some steamed pork feet for them to share. She hesitates, calling it a little pricey, but he insists it's fine, he wants to. As he heads out, she waves him off with a soft smile, cheeks tinged pink, and can't help the flutter in her chest. Jimin Oppa really is different. No hidden strings, no expectations, just him. Right then and there, she makes up her mind to show him every part of herself, no hiding, no filters. She believes he's earned that much and more. Giju Sianbei glances nervously at her phone, cheeks flushing at the thought of doing something a little more romantic. Okay, definitely romantic, for the first time. She's both scared and excited, but her mind is made up. Her first special moment has to be with Jimin Oppa. She's already picked out the perfect outfit for their 100th day anniversary trip, planning to totally wow him. Sitting on his bed, she can't help but blush at how ambitious her plan sounds in her head. Suddenly, a buzzing breaks her concentration, and she realizes Jimin left his phone behind and it's ringing. Curious, she picks it up with a smile, but the smile disappears when she spots a message about him having a sugar mama. Intrigued, she taps on it, which leads her into a group chat where Jimin and his friends are gossiping about her like she's the latest K-drama plot twist. There are messages, memes, and even pictures of her doing sweet things for Jimin, basically, her life as the sugar mama she didn't sign up to be. Our girl sits back, half amused, half scandalized, thinking maybe she should start charging for all this attention, or at least ask for a cut of the group chat royalties. Giju reads the messages, and suddenly her heart skips a beat, like someone just hit the pause button on all the happiness and excitement she'd been building. Just then, the apartment door swings open, and Jimin Oppa walks in carrying food, his usual sweet and playful vibe lighting up the room. But the moment he spots Giju holding his phone open to that group chat, the grin fades faster than steamed pork feet slipping off a slippery floor, literally, as the dish crashes and scatters everywhere. He freezes and asks why she's got his phone, but before he can get another word out, Giju jumps up, grabs her bag, and heads for the door. Jimin tries to stop her, stammering some kind of explanation, but she walks right past him like he's a ghost. Not giving up, he grabs her wrist, pulls her close, and pleads for her to listen, explaining pretty desperately that he only wanted to brag a bit, like it was just harmless chatter. Giju isn't buying his just bragging excuse, especially after seeing the pictures, but Jimin quickly apologizes for sharing their private chats, and insists she's the only thing worth showing off. He's got away with words, no surprise there, the guy's an actor after all. Playing along, Giju suggests maybe he should spend more time prepping for auditions instead of playing games. Suddenly, it hits her how ridiculous this whole thing is. How on earth did she think he was a good boyfriend? She pulls his hand off her shoulder and tells him to get a grip. His response? Let's just say he raises his hands on her, and before she can even react, he hits her. Sitting on the floor, her mind racing, Jimin stammers an apology, saying he didn't mean it. No words come out of her mouth, she just stands up, shoves him aside, and walks out. He chases after her, pleading and claiming he wasn't in his right mind. Giju Sianbei stops, just a few feet from his doorframe, tears streaming down her face, as she tells Jimin she'd been warned about him, but chose to believe him anyway, because she hoped things would be different. Even when he gave her that cheap toy ring for their 100th day anniversary, she accepted it with an open heart. Now, she pulls it off her finger and throws it right at him before finally breaking up with him. As she tries to leave, Jimin blocks her path, and the two struggle at the edge of the staircase. Suddenly, our female lead stumbles and falls down the flight of stairs. Mid-air, her mind races, what just happened? How much worse could this get? She's been through terrible relationships with bad guys before, and now she wonders what's wrong with her that she keeps ending up in these messes. Falling toward what could be her worst moment yet, all she can think is whether she's just a terrible judge of character. If only someone had taught her the signs, if only she had the eyes to spot red flags right away, then maybe she'd never have been treated so horribly. Everything goes dark for a moment, and suddenly she jolts awake in a hospital bed, a bandage on her head and dressed in hospital clothes. She's survived the fall, though it wasn't pretty. Not long after, Jimin Oppa storms in, clearly relieved she's alive, and quickly apologizes for putting her in danger. He even kneels, begging for forgiveness, but that's not what catches her attention. Hovering above his head is a glowing holographic template, visible only to Giju, showing a 2-star rating with negative reviews from his exes floating all around. She even spots her own rating nearby, along with comments from Jimin's immediate ex, and even his first love's review popping up. Giju is utterly mind-blown. Who knew heartbreak came with a Yelp-style rating system? Jimin moves closer, gently taking her hand and apologizing for last night, blaming his bad auditions for his awful behavior. But none of it sinks in for Giju. His words feel empty while her mind races trying to make sense of the glowing pop-ups floating around him. Then it hits her, this strange gift, this heaven-sent rating system, might just be the game-changer her rotten love life needs. Suddenly, hope flickers back in her heart. What's her new dream now? To find a man totally different from all the losers she's dated so far. Will she get him? Well, that's a story we are about to find out. Giju stares straight at Jimin Oppa, blinking like she's lost her mind, or maybe it's just a really vivid daydream, or possibly a concussion from that fall. Jimin keeps apologizing like he's in a broken record commercial, but Giju's attention is hijacked by these weird pop-up reviews glowing all around him, like some glitchy video game overlay. He insists yesterday was just a big misunderstanding, but the familiar names floating nearby have her seriously questioning what universe she's landed in. Suddenly, Jimin grabs her hand, pleading if they are really breaking up over something so silly. He tries to say he didn't shove her off the curb on purpose, blaming her for provoking him, like that's a legit defense. Did he just accidentally confess to almost turning their date into a slapstick action scene? Giju's not having it. She snatches her hand back faster than you can say plot twist, only to notice he slipped the ring back onto her finger like it's a magical reset button. With a stunned look, Giju demands why the ring is back on her finger, when she's sure she tossed it last night like last season's fashion disaster. Jimin shrugs and says he picked it up and slipped it right back on, assuming she was just caught up in a wave of emotions, because nothing says logic like playing jewelry janitor for someone who's mad at you. She narrows her eyes, rage simmering just beneath the surface, and when she stares him down like a dragon eyeing its prey, Jimin instantly goes full defense mode, stumbling over his words like he's trying to explain why the sky is green. Meanwhile, Giju Seonbae struggles to get out of bed, and just as she's finding her footing, Jimin bolts out the door like it's the last bus home, shouting something about fetching a doctor and slamming the door so hard it practically echoes, "I'm outta here." Watching him flee like a cartoon character makes her wonder if bravery is even in his vocabulary. But all that aside, the strangest part is those pop-ups still flickering in front of her eyes. She thought she was hallucinating earlier, but no, they are definitely there, like some bizarre mashup of restaurant critiques, movie ratings, and oddly enough, reviews on Jimin Oppa himself. Giju's head spins at the thought that those reviews might actually be real, which basically means Jimin's temper tantrums aren't one-time flukes, but a recurring disaster show. Asking him about it. Yeah, no thanks. She edges toward the door, trying to be sneaky, but just as she cracks it open, her friend Sang-sun comes barreling down the hallway like a wrecking ball and literally smacks face first into the door. Both of them scream like they are in a horror movie, which, honestly, fits the vibe. After a few deep breaths, Giju calms Sang-sun down, who's still wide-eyed with worry because she heard about the great staircase tumble from the top floor. Giju insists she's perfectly fine, because who needs sympathy when you can look like a walking miracle? Then, as if things weren't strange enough, new pop-ups start popping around Sang-sun, flashing reviews from Exes and other random critics. Giju freezes, stunned that these ghostly ratings are following her friend too, and even more stunned that some of Sang-sun's exes have some seriously unexpected opinions. Trying to make sense of all the weird info she's picked up from the reviews, Giju grabs Sang-sun by the shoulder and straight up demands an honest answer. Without missing a beat, Sang-sun agrees, probably thinking, well, here goes nothing. Our female lead asks if Sang-sun really dumped her first boyfriend because of that cringy public surprise proposal. Sang-sun's face instantly turns into a glare that says, why would you even bring that up? Then Giju brings up Sang-sun's second boyfriend, Jihoon, and that awkward bedroom standoff where he refused to sleep with her unless they were married. Sang-sun looks shocked Giju knows about that, but confirms it all the same. Putting the pieces together, Giju starts to believe these pop-up reviews aren't just random glitches, but real, juicy truths. That's when Sang-sun grabs her, shaking her like a detective demanding answers. How on earth did Giju find out all this? Our girl tries to explain, but hesitates, and Sang-sun cuts her off mid-sentence, pointing out that since Giju supposedly fell backward, her face bruise doesn't add up. Just then, Jimin Oppa storms in like a guilty cat caught in the act, eyes darting between Sang-sun and Giju, and immediately questions the mysterious bruise marking our girl's face. Tension wraps around Jimin Oppa like a noose, and suddenly he's blabbering about some audition he's got coming up, as if that's supposed to be an escape plan. Sang-sun blocks his exit and shoots him a glare, asking if he seriously plans to leave Giju all alone right now. He just shrugs, mutters something about being late, and bolts like a kid trying to dodge chores, totally ignoring her question. Sang-sun tries to chase after him, but Giju holds her back, deciding it's time to spill the whole messy truth about last night's disaster. When Sang-sun hears the full story, she lets out a yelp, turns serious, and makes it crystal clear she would have decked Jimin Oppa herself if Giju had come to her sooner. Giju just shrugs and says she's done with him, like, forever. Sang-sun leans in, eyes locked on the cheap toy ring still clinging to Giju's finger. Without hesitation, Giju slides it off, and the moment it's gone, every single pop-up buzzing around Sang-sun just disappears, like someone hit the mute button on this weird reality show. She doesn't hesitate, shoving the ring back on her finger, then yanking it off again, like some bizarre finger workout, testing if this thing really controls the pop-ups. After a few rounds of this weird ring game, she's convinced it's legit, and in a burst of frustration, chucks the ring across the room like it just insulted her cooking. Then she storms over to the corner, breathing heavy enough to power a small wind turbine, basically having a mini meltdown over the idea of wearing that cringeworthy ring just to check some reviews. Behind her, Sang-sun sits on the bed looking completely dazed, probably wondering if she's about to lose it or invent a new dance move. Our girl can't help but mull over the odd chain of events, first the pop-ups, now the ring, when a sudden realization hits her like a plot twist in a soap opera. Her eyes go wide, chills running down her spine as she remembers Giju Seonbae's wish to have eyes sharp enough to spot walking, talking red flags. And here she is, stuck in this weird situation that's basically her wish come true, just not the way anyone expected. She stands awkwardly in the middle of the room, processing everything that's gone down in the last hour, while Sang-sun's still on the bed, completely lost in the chaos. Sang-sun gets up to leave, clearly deciding Giju's losing it after the breakup, who yells at a ring and expects it to listen. That's straight-up cuckoo vibes, and before Giju can even blink, Sang-sun's vanished like a ghost in a bad horror flick. Left alone with a head full of questions, Giju can't help but wonder if she's actually losing it, or if this wild stuff is really happening. Cut to the next scene, Giju, looking like she hasn't slept in a week thanks to the ring and those relentless pop-up reviews, drags herself through the streets to the very store where she bought the cursed accessory. Surely, the seller must know something about this madness, right? Just as she's about to step inside, someone approaches, and when she turns, bam! It's Jimin Oppa, popping up like a surprise side quest. She wonders how he tracked her down, and he admits he figured campus was her most likely hideout. He makes it clear he's not ready to call it quits, though his sorry not sorry vibe says he's not exactly beating himself up over it. Giju stares at him, wondering how on earth she ever signed up to date this guy in the first place. He's spouting the usual, "I can't live without you" nonsense, which honestly comes off so corny she's ready to roll her eyes into the next time zone. She steps closer, deadpan, and tells him the truth, he can't live without her money, not her. Without giving it much thought, she figures that's the real reason he's here, greedy and lazy, all eyes on the cash. No love in sight. He takes offense immediately and demands she take it back, voice rising like they're starring in a soap opera right outside the store. Just then, a tall, dark-haired guy strolls up carrying a box, adding more tension to the scene. Giju's had enough and lays down the ultimatum, she'll pay his next month's rent if he'll just leave her alone forever. Before she can finish, Jimin, feeling his pride wounded, raises his hand like he's about to land a hit, and Giju braces herself for impact, only for someone to suddenly bump into Jimin and interrupt the whole showdown. The dark-haired guy accidentally bumps into Jimin, and the poor action figure he's been clutching crashes dramatically to the floor. Jimin Oppa flips out, clearly more pissed about the interruption than the toy casualty. Giju watches the scene unfold, instantly recognizing the calm yet familiar face of the tall guy, who's now focused on his fallen action figure like it's the world's greatest tragedy. Jimin's foot is crushing a piece of the plastic hero, so the dark-haired guy leans in close, practically looming over him like a gentle giant auditioning for a villain role, but with surprisingly chill vibes. Jimin wonders why this dude is so tall and suddenly feels like a mouse in a lion's den. Just when the tension peaks, Jimin's phone rings, saving him like a plot twist in a sitcom. Without missing a beat, he bolts, secretly thrilled to avoid what might have been an awkward showdown. Before disappearing, he calls out to Giju Seonbae, promising the conversation is far from over, because nothing says to be continued like a dramatic escape and crushed plastic heroes. The thought of Jimin Oppa running off like that really ticks off the female lead, but before she can stew on it too long, the dark-haired guy calls her name, and she spins around, confirmation hitting like a lightning bolt. It's Hal Seonbae. Her heart sinks when she spots his action figure in total pieces, and she fumbles to pick up the shattered bits, apologizing like it's the end of the world, promising to replace it even as her panic bubbles up. Hal just shrugs it off, but then, noticing she's clearly caught in a mess with Jimin Oppa, he offers to walk her somewhere safe, just in case the storm blows back. She remembers all the whispers about him from school, the kind that make you want to trust someone without question, and it warms her up inside. Politely, she declines the offer, but genuinely thanks him for stepping in. Then, out of nowhere, a pop-up notification catches her off guard. There he is, right in front of her, stretching out a hand with that easy, reassuring smile, and suddenly she's frozen, caught between surprise and something else she can't quite name. Her bag slips from her shoulders, and her eyes widen as she reads the glowing rating and reviews flashing on her screen. What's this mysterious score? And why is it sweeping her off her feet? Guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out.
That's all for today, but trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part. Until next time, adios.